Hi guys, this is Mohan. Welcome to Techies Knowledge Hub. Guys, in this tutorial we are going to discuss EC2 Linux Instance. Let us see the agenda for today's session. We are going to discuss the definition of EC2 instance and how to create and how to launch EC2 instance. How to deploy the static website on EC2 Linux instance. How to create and add volume to EC2 instance, followed by interview questions. Let us see the definition of EC2 instance. Guys, EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It will be like a virtual server. Why it is called as virtual server is we are going to launch the server on AWS premises by connecting through net. It is not available on our physical network, but it is available on other network, that is AWS. That's why it is called virtual server, and it is very much flexible. You can choose your operating system, your network, your storage, etc. That's why it is a resizable compute capacity in the cloud. You can customize according to your need. Let us see the steps to create EC2 Linux instance. First step, we need to choose AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image, which is a template which consists of operating system, application server, and application. Step number 2, depends on the capacity and volume requirement. We need to choose the appropriate instance type. And we need to provide the configuration details like how many instances you require, what are the network details, purchasing option, shutdown behavior, a role session, etc. in configuration details. At fourth step, we need to add the root volume to your EC2 instance, but also you can add EBS volumes. You can create up to 50 tags and add to your instances, EC2 instance. And we are going to create the security group around your EC2 instance. This will decide the inbound and outbound traffic to your EC2 instance. And we are going to create the key pair, that is private key and public key. Public key will be stored on AWS premises, and private key we are going to download. You have to keep it at secured and safe place. As whenever you wanted to connect your EC2 instance, we need to provide private key, and the authentication, the combination of private key and public key will authenticate you to connect your EC2 instance. And you are going to launch EC2 instance. Let me go to my AWS console. Guys, this is my AWS console. You can see all the services provided by AWS here. You go to directly and click on the service, or you go to select button, you can search here. And before that, we need to choose the region in which you wanted to launch your instances. I am in North Virginia region. I am going to select here EC2. It's a virtual servers in the cloud. So as of now, I don't have any running instances. I'm going to launch instance. Click on launch instance. This is the first step. Step number 1. Choose an AMI, that is Amazon Machine Image. What is AMI? An AMI is a template that contains the software configuration like operating system, application server, and applications, which is available under different options. That is quick start. Quick start means all the AMIs will be listed here. Few of them are available under free tier like this, and few of them are not under free tier. This is one option. Second one, if you create your AMI, those AMIs will be available here, that is user defined AMIs or custom defined AMIs. You can choose that one as well. As of now, I don't have any AMI. Third option is AWS Marketplace. Here different other vendors will provide their AMIs here. You can go and choose appropriate AMI for your requirement. And last option is community AMIs. Now I need only Linux AMIs. Go and select Linux. All Linux instances will be listed here. I can select one among them. Similarly, Windows, etc. So I am going to quick start. I will choose one of the Linux instance. The next step is choose instance type. Depends on a number of virtual CPUs, instance storage and network performance. You can select the corresponding instance type. But in free tier, only one instance which is available is T2.micro instance. So I am going with T2.micro instance. Then click on configure instance details. This is very important, guys. Here we are going to mention the number of instances required. I am going with one for demo. Purchasing option, and these three parameters: network, subnet, auto assign public IP, these are related to networking. First one is we are going to choose the VPC in which we are going to launch your EC2 instance. As of now I don't have my own VPC. I am going with the default one. Second one, subnets in which you wanted to launch your EC2 instance. I am going with 1A. In North Virginia region, as you can see, 6 availability zones are present. I am going to select one. And auto assign public IP. Guys, here you can see 3 options. The first option is whenever we are going to launch EC2 instance in a subnet, whether you wanted to associate the public IP from public subnet or not. If your subnet is a public subnet, then you choose this, then obviously your instance will be associated with public IP. If your subnet is private IP, if you want explicitly need public IP, then go and select this. And disable option, if you are selecting this, it doesn't matter where you are launching your EC2 instance. You may launch in private subnet or public subnet. Your instance will not be associated with public IP. Guys, we are going to discuss these parameters in VPC section very clearly. And I am going with all the other default options. As of now I don't have any IAM role to attach it. I am going with the default one. And next one, shutdown behavior. Here we have 2 options, one stop and terminate. If I select stop and I am going to stop my instance, it will go to normal shutdown and your instance will be available. Whenever you want, you can start the instance. If I select terminate option, whenever I am going to shut down the server will go to shutdown and it will be terminated. It will not be available. Next, monitoring. Enable terminate protection. Guys, this will help you. This will protect against accidental termination. Suppose accidentally by mistake you are going to delete your EC2 instance, then there will be a pop-up. Guys, you are selected already enable accidental termination protection. You have to go and disable it, then only it will allow you to terminate it. So if you select this, you cannot terminate unless you disable this option. Next one, monitoring. Default monitoring is for 5 minutes. There is a service called CloudWatch. It will monitor your EC2 instance and it will provide the metrics for every 5 minutes. If you want 1 minute monitoring, yes, select this option, enable, then your CloudWatch will monitor for every 1 minute. Then you have to pay additional charges. Next one, tenancy. There are 2 types here, whether you wanted to shared instance or dedicated instance. If you go for dedicated instance, which means they will dedicate, AWS will dedicate the total hardware for you. Whether you use it or don't use it, you have to pay for it. So it will be more costlier, and it will be more secured as you are the only one who is going to use the total hardware. But as of now, for this demo, I am going with shared option. Next one, and click on add storage. Guys, here one root volume will be added default. You cannot delete this. You have to add this. And there are three volume types. One is general purpose, provisioned IOPS, and magnetic standard. Magnetic standard is the old one, and general purpose SSD is for normal purpose. Provisioned IOPS is very high speed applications, which means whenever your application is going to interact with heavy loads, upstream and downstream systems like batch loads, you can go and select this option. For demo, I am going with general purpose. Next one, guys, this is one of the very important parameter, that is delete on termination. If you check this, whenever you are going to terminate your EC2 instance, the root volume associated with EC2 instance will also be terminated. If you uncheck this, though you are terminating your EC2 instance, your volume will not be terminated. And also you can add the EBS volumes. You can add n number of EBS volumes, but adding EBS volumes is optional, but adding root volume is mandatory. And if you see here the volume types, you can see two additional HDD, cold HDD, and throughput optimized HDD, apart from other three options which were available for root volume. So I am going with default one. Guys, if you see here, I selected delete on termination option for root volume. For EBS volume, I didn't select this, which means after launching, once our demo is over, I am going to terminate the EC2 instance. Then the root volume should be terminated, but this volume should be available. Okay, let me go to add tags. You can add up to 50 tags. Guys, tags are nothing but you are going to give the names to your EC2 instance. Next one, configure security group. Guys, this is very important. Why? Because we are going to construct a firewall around your EC2 instance that will decide the both inbound and outbound traffic. In AWS language, egress and egress. Egress means inbound traffic and egress means outbound traffic. I am going to create EC2-SG, EC2-SG. Guys, here you can see different options, depends on your requirement, how you wanted to connect to your EC2 instance. You have to select the appropriate option. I'm going with the default one because I wanted to connect to my EC2 instance through PuTTY, and protocol is TCP and port range 22. Guys, source we have three options here. If you select my IP, you can only connect to your EC2 instance through this IP. Next one, custom. You can mention here the IP address from which you wanted to connect to EC2 instance. Suppose if you mention 10.9.8.8, which means you can connect to your EC2 instance to be launched here from that IP. If I select anywhere, from anywhere you can connect to your EC2 instance. Here the description you can provide the meaningful name. First demo. This is purely optional. I am going to click on review and launch. Just go ahead and once review all the values which you selected and launch. Guys, this is very important. We are going to create the key pair, which means you are going to create public key and private key, and I am going to download the private key, and public key will be stored on AWS premises, and you have to store private key at secured and accessible place. If you lose this private key, there is no other way that you can download this private key. You will lose the complete access to your EC2 instance. Let me repeat, guys. Once you create the key pair, which means you are going to create public key and private key. Public key will be stored on AWS premises, and private key we are going to download. You have to keep it at secure and safe place. Once you lose this private key, there is no way that you can connect to your EC2 instance. You are going to lose the connection to your EC2 instance. I don't have any key pair. I am going to create new one. My key pair. I'm going to download, then launch instances. Guys, you can see here the user guides are there, and if you go here you can see the pre-tier. It says limits for your EC2 instance, how smartly you can use it, and how to connect your Linux instance, and discussion forums. Just you can explore more on this. I'm going to click on view instances. Guys, it will take some time. It is launching. Meanwhile, if you see here, the private key which we downloaded is with the .pem extension. We need to convert this to .ppk extension. How can we convert this one? Is there is a software called PuttyGen which helps you to convert this .pem file to .ppk. Guys, both Putty and PuttyGen are open source. You can go to Google and download. I have already downloaded. I'm going to PuttyGen. Click on load. I'm selecting all option. I go here. This is my PEM file which is just now downloaded. I'm going to select it. Open. Successfully imported foreign key, private key. Yes. Okay. Click on save private key. Are you sure want to save this key without passphrase to protect it? Yes. And all files. Convert this into .ppk and close this. If I go here, I can see my .ppk file. Okay, good. Let me go to console. It will take some time, guys, to launch it. Meanwhile, I will explain you a few other parameters related to your EC2 instance. See, this is the instance ID. AWS will allocate one unique identifier for each instance, and this is instance state. At present it is running, but it's not completed the health checks. And what is the instance type we selected? We selected t2.micro. In which availability zone your EC2 instance is going to launch, that is 1A. Then this is security group, then your AMI, and what is the key pair associated, and this is my account ID, who is the owner, and when it got created, and tenancy, whether it is a default or dedicated. Next one, and every EC2 instance will be associated with two public public DNS, public IP, private DNS, and private IP. Private IP, private DNS should be associated with every EC2 instance, but public will be associated, depends on the parameter you are selecting in configuration section. Next one, go to health checks. Guys, there are two health checks, as you can see: system status checks, then instance status checks. It has to pass two health checks, then you can see in red, in green. Now see this 2x2 health checks passed, which means this instance is available for you to launch it. Okay, let me show you other options. Guys, this is a monitoring. Your CloudWatch service will monitor your EC2 instance for every 5 minutes. That is basic monitoring, which is for free of cost. You can see here all this basic monitoring: CPU utilization, disk reads, disk write operation, networking, etc. If you want more monitoring, that is 1 minute for every, if you want your CloudWatch to monitor for every 1 minute, go ahead and enable detailed monitoring, but you need to pay more money for this. Here you can see the tags which we added. Let me go here, guys. Go to connect. Here it is displaying there are different ways to connect your EC2 instance. One is using standalone SSH client, which means you download putty from Google and you can download you can connect to your EC2 instance. This was the option available from the beginning. And second option, EC2 instance connect. This option is provided very recently, this and third option as well, but third option will not support for Google Chrome. Okay, let me close this and I will show you other options here. Go to actions, connect. Again you can see the same options, and here one more important thing, instance state. Here you can see start, stop, reboot, terminate. You want terminate, reboot is like restart, and since this is running instance, it is showing the stop instance. And cloud, here also you can go here, CloudWatch monitoring. If you want to enable, you can go ahead and enable detailed monitoring. And networking, these are networking related. You can select this one. Guys, I am going to connect. Let me go to description. I'm taking public IP. I'm going to connect to my EC2 instance through putty. Paste your host name. Go to connection, SSH, expand SSH. Go to auth. Then browse your private key. Go to your location where you saved where you stored your private key. Select it and open. Click on open. Yes. User ID is always EC2-user per Linux instance. Yes. So I am able to successfully connect it to my EC2 instance. Guys, it will be like your server, and whatever you want to install, you can go ahead and install. You can install Java, you can install M package, you can install MySQL, etc. So this user has very limited powers. Let me show you. This is completed, launching and connecting. Now we are going to discuss how to deploy static website on your EC2 instance. Guys, first let me install HTTP package here. Sorry guys, I have to do the sudo because this ID has very limited powers. Now I go and yum install HTTP. install HTTP. So I am installing HTTP service here. Yes, it is installed. Once it is installed, go to var www then HTML. I am going to verify my HTTPD. My HTTP service status. No, it's not running. I am going to start it. Service HTTPD start. It is started. Let me check the status. Yes, it is running. Started the Apache HTTP server. Okay, let me go here. I'm taking the public IP. Let me close this as well. Ideally it should display the test page, but it's not displaying. Why? Because you have to go and check the firewalls. Have to go and check the firewalls. What my firewalls are showing here. This is the firewall we attach it to the EC2 instance. Let me check the inbound traffic. Go here, inbound. Guys, as you can see, we only added SSH, which means this particular instance only allows SSH traffic, which means you can only connect to your EC2 instance through SSH client, that is PuTTY. If you want to connect through internet, then go here, edit and add role. I'm going to add HTTP. Let me save it. So I added one more, that is HTTP. Now I go here, I will refresh. It should display the test page. So let me go and deploy my own website here. Where am I? PWD. I'm going to where www HTML, then cat index dot HTML. I'm going to create HTML. This is my static website, guys. Let me check. Yes. Then I'm going to start again HTTP service HTTP start. Let me check the status of my HTTP. Yes, it's running. Now it should, if I go here and refresh, instead of the test page provided by AWS, it should display my website. Yeah, my first website. Guys, this is the way to deploy your static website on EC2 instance. Let me repeat the steps. Once after connecting to your Linux instance, do the sudo, because with sudo only you can create the files and directories, and install HTTP service, yum install HTTP. Then go to /var. Let me show you here. Go to this location and create your static website, and once again restart HTTP server, then you can connect to your static website. This is the way to connect to your static website. What is the next one? Creating and attaching volume to your EC2 instance. Okay, let me go to my console. This is my EC2 console. I will go to volume. Guys, if you remember, we added two volumes. One is root volume, another one is EBS volume. So both are attached to your EC2 instance. And first, before adding, let me check in which availability zone I launched my EC2 instance. Guys, this is very important. Whenever you are going to add the volume to your EC2 instance, both EC2 instance and volume should reside in same availability zone. Then only you can add the volume to your EC2 instance. So my EC2 instance is where 1A. Okay, let me create the volume. Go here, create volume, general purpose. I am not changing any other parameter, and make sure that the availability zone in which you are creating the volume is 1A, because your EC2 instance is available in 1A, and create the volume. It will take some time, guys. I am going to create another volume in another availability zone 1B, to show you that we cannot add this volume to your EC2 instance. Guys, see this? The first volume is created in availability zone 1A, and my EC2 instance is running in 1 year zone. If I go here, right click and attach the volume, you can attach it, or otherwise select this volume, go to actions and attach volume. This way also you can attach it, and go here, search it. This is the instance which we are talking about. Select it and attach the volume. Now this volume also in use, which means this volume is already attached to your EC2 instance. Now if I go here, I'm selecting it, right click, attach. Now I go here, it will not display the EC2 instance because in availability zone 1B there is no instance which is running at present, so that you can attach this volume to EC2 instance. Guys, earlier there was a restriction. Whenever you want to add the volume to your EC2 instance, then you should stop the instance, then only you can add the volume to your EC2 instance. But now they removed that option. Even the instance is running or stopped state, you can attach the volume to your EC2 instance. Let me go to my PPTs. Let us see a few of the important interview questions. How is stopping and terminating an instance is different from each other? Guys, there are two options available. One, after launching your EC2 instance, either you can stop it or terminate the instance. The difference between these two is, if you stop the EC2 instance, then it will go to normal shutdown. Then whatever the EBS volumes attached to that instance, they will still alive, and your instance is with you. Whenever you wanted to start the instance, yes, you can start along with EBS volumes which we attach to that. So which means whenever you are going to stop the instance, that stopped instance is with you. Whenever you want, you can restart the instance along with the previous volumes. But termination is different. Whenever we are going to terminate the instance, it will go to normal shutdown, then the instance will be terminated. Once the instance is terminated, it will no longer available for you to start it. And what about EBS volumes? If you select this delete on termination instance false, then your volumes will be available. If you unselect this, which means your EBS volumes, if you unselect this and you are going to terminate the instance, then your EBS volumes will be available. If you select this option and you are going to terminate the EC2 instance along with your EC2 instance, these volumes will be terminated. What are the various AMI design options? There are three options. One, fully backed AMI, just enough operating system AMI, and hybrid AMI. What are the best practices for security in Amazon EC2? There are some best practices, guys. Always use IAM module to provide the required access to required resources, and restrict the access by only allowing trusted hosts. If you want to connect to your EC2 instances from some other server, just create the firewall in such a way that you can only connect to your EC2 instance from the trusted source, not from other servers. Always review the rules of your security groups. If not required, delete the other firewalls, inbound traffics, and make sure that only authorized people are connecting to your EC2 instance. Privilege only open up permissions that you required, and disable the password based logins for instances launched from your AMI. Next one, you have an EC2 security group with several running EC2 instances. We changed the security group rules to allow inbound traffic on a new port and protocol, and then launched several new instances in the same security group. Then how about the rules applicable to EC2 instances? Option A, immediately to all instances in the security group, immediately to the new instances only, immediately to the new instances, but old instances must be stopped and restarted before the new rules apply to all instances, but it may take several minutes for old instances to see the changes. Guys, this is basically, there is a security group in which we have several instances running. Let us say 5 instances are running, and we are going to modify the security group or add some inbound traffic rules. How those rules are applicable for EC2 instances? Those rules are applicable for only new instances or old instances, or restart is required? Nothing, guys. Immediately to all the instances in the security group, which means whenever we are modifying any security group by adding inbound and outbound traffic, immediately those rules will be applicable to all EC2 instances which we launched in that particular security group. Let me show you guys. Let me go to my EC2 instance. See, as you can see, I have two inbound rules. One I can connect through SSH, another one is I can connect through HTTP. I'm going to modify the security group. This is the one we attached. I'm going to edit. I'm going to delete HTTP. I'm going to save it, which means this instance should allow only SSH traffic, which means you can connect to this instance only through putty. This should not allow through internet. See, it is not launching. Guys, let me repeat. Whenever we are making the changes on any security group, it will reflect immediately to all the instances, both old and new instances. There is no restart required. Next one. What are the features of the Amazon EC2 service? 1. It has virtual computing environment known as instances. Pre-configured templates for your instances known as Amazon Machine Images, that is AMIs. Amazon Machine Images is a complete package that you need for your server. Amazon EC2 provides various configurations of CPU, memory, storage and networking capacity for your instances, that is called as instance type, and secure login information for your instances using key pairs. As we discussed, it will create two key pairs, two keys. One is public key and another one is private key. Public key will be stored on AWS premises. Private key we are going to store it on from our end. And whenever you are going to connect your EC2 instance, we need to provide the private key, and this private key will authenticate along with the public key. If both matches, then it will be authenticated, then only you can connect to your EC2 instance. Once you lose private key, there is no way that you can connect to your EC2 instance. Storage volumes of temporary data is deleted when you stop or terminate your instance. Amazon EC2 provides persistent storage volumes, that is EBS, and a firewall that enables you to specify the protocols, ports and source IP ranges that can reach your instances using security groups. And the last one is static IP addresses for dynamic computing cloud. Amazon EC2 provides metadata, that is tags. Guys, let me show you one more option before going ahead and closing the session. I'm going to EC2 instances. I go to volumes. Let me terminate this volume. This is not yet attached to EC2 instance, but because EC2 instance is launched in 1A. And also now I go and try to delete this. Yes, this option is disabled. Why? Because this is attached to your EC2 instance. Now what I am going to do is I am going to detach this. How to detach? Once it detach, should be in available status. It's taking a little bit more time. Yeah, now you can delete this volume. So if you want to delete any volume, those volumes should not be attached to any EC2 instance. That is the point I want to cover, guys. If you remember, when you were creating EC2 instances, we created two volumes. One is root volume, another one is EBS volume. This is the root volume, this is EBS volume, and for one volume we selected delete on termination is true, another one is false. Okay, let me go to EC2 dashboard, running instances. I am going to terminate this instance. Let us see what will happen. Instance state terminate. Yes, terminate. Let me go to volumes. Let me open the duplicate tab. Let me check EC2 instance status. Yes, my instance is terminated. I'm going here in the volumes. Yes, the volume is terminated. One volume is available because you uncheck that option delete on termination, which means whenever you are going to terminate EC2 instance, we don't want that volume to be terminated. For that volume, we selected the delete on termination uncheck, and for other volume, that is the root volume, we selected the delete on termination option, which means whenever we are going to delete the EC2 instance, your volume also will be terminated. Guys, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, kindly share with your friends. Thanks for watching this video and have a nice day ahead.